Hi, I'm maryjo with Fourth Dimension Healing in Stillwater, Minnesota, and I'm also the director of the Center for Crystal in Healing Studies. One of the things lately that I've been hearing my students and those who I work with for healing, they've been really talking about how it's been harder for them in recent weeks to remain grounded, centered, and really connect with their heart center. And that makes sense because when things are unsettled, whether it's personally within our family or community or globally, those dysregulated energies are going to impact us. So we have to have practices that help us stay balanced, help us maintain a state of less reactivity and more of a space and a state of being able to pause and reflect and then respond in a way that is more grounded. So, as I've given thought to this energy pattern that we have right now that is quite unsettled, I've really been thinking about how best can I bring a teaching to you that could help you. And it's something that you can then do for yourself. And what I've decided to do is show you how to create a world peace grid. If you're brand new to crystal grids, welcome. Crystal grids are a combination of working with the energy properties and energy structures of gemstones and crystals, as well as geometric shapes and patterns that are created when we lay the stones on a particular grid. Grids can be very complicated, they can be very simple. And so, in just a minute, I'm going to actually build a grid with you so that you can get a sense of how I'm going to be working with this and offer it to you. If you have a lot of stones, you have an opportunity to just decide, intuitively, which ones you feel like you want to work with. If you don't have a lot of stones, that's okay too. Work with the ones you have. I've specifically selected several gemstones today to work with as I create this world peace grid, and I will explain a little bit as I move through the grid. So I'm going to adjust the camera and we will start building the grid. All right, and so we have this grid laid out. You can see that I have a very simple printout of the globe. It may be that you want to focus your global peace grid maybe more locally. So maybe you have literally a map of your county or your city or your state or your region. It is just really completely up to you, but I do want to use this entire global image to work with. You can see that I have some stones pulled out. I like to work in sets of 3 stones often because when we place 3 stones, they become triangle, and a triangle is balancing, and it is really a way of drawing in and stabilizing energy. Whenever we create a grid, we're going to want to have a center stone, and the center stone is a stone that's going to essentially anchor the intention of this grid. I brought 3 different stones today to talk with you about because I want to show you how you can switch up the stones you work with and their properties, and it still will have the same intention, but it has a little bit different nuance. So when we're thinking about stabilizing world peace and bringing in properties that can support that, an example would be Almandine Garnet. So the center stone, of course, always goes in the center. Almandine Garnet is very grounding and it has an energy and properties that really revitalize. So, if, for example, within your understanding and experience with unsettled times, you're feeling really drained and you're feeling unbalanced and ungrounded, it could be that this could be something. This kind of a stone could be something that you personally would be able to resonate with as you bring those healing properties into the world. So that's Almandine Garnet. I'll just set that one aside. Then here's a piece of Eudialyte. Eudialyte has properties of earth and water, whereas the Almandine Garnet is an earth element stone. And so sometimes what we can do is feel like what we'd like to bring to this grid is a sense of grounding and calming. That would be an example of how we could work with Eudialyte in that center stone. And just set those aside. The third stone that I brought today, and this is actually the one I want to work with to create our global peace grid is a piece of lepidolite. Lepidolite is a water element stone. It is very calming. And so my sense is what we're really doing with this particular grid is setting that intention of world peace and bringing in a sense of calm. Now, I mentioned that I like to work with three stones, and the stones I'm going to be starting with are stones that are associated with the storm element. And if you're not familiar with the system of elements I work with, I have other videos that I talk about those. But blue kyanite is a stone that is very, very helpful for balancing chakras and balancing the energy field. And yes, we have our own chakras, and the world and the earth has its own energy system too. And my sense is what I would like to do with this particular grid is really bring in those energies of balance in a transformational way. So I'm placing three blue kyanite. I'm placing them at my 12 o'clock position, my 4 o'clock position, and the 8 o'clock position. Here you see the triangle, very stabilizing. Now what I'd like to do is bring in three other stones. I wouldn't have to. This is a beautiful grid as it is. However, I feel like I would like to bring in more of a calming water element stone, a stone that also helps with expression and allowing ourselves to express emotions and fears and concerns. And for that, I'm using three pieces of aquamarine. And I placed those at the 2 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, and the 10 o'clock position. Again, we have three triangle, or another set of three stones makes another triangle. So we have, again, balanced and stability, and in some ways, a downward flow and an upward flow of those energies into the earth. This again is a complete grid in and of itself. And I also like to work with clear quartz a lot with my grids because clear quartz amplifies the properties of the other stones that it's working with. It's also very helpful for clearing the entire energy field. It is also a storm element stone, just like the blue kyanite that we placed at the 12, 4, and 8 o'clock positions. And so I have three pieces of clear quartz. This is, as you can see, has 2 points. It's called double terminated, which means the energy flows both directions at the same time. And I'm placing that directly next to the blue kyanites. Now, these last two that I'm placing down at these lower two positions, these are actually Tibetan quartz. Tibetan quartz is almost always double terminated. It's slightly harder actually than clear quartz. And again, it's all that kind of stormy transformational energy. So that's what we've got. So for me, this is a complete grid. And now what we have to do is activate it. The activating of a grid is a process that helps connect all the different energies of all the different stones so that they become cohesive. Now, left alone, this grid is going to establish balance and cohesion all on its own. And we can also kind of speed up that process a little bit by activating it. We can activate it with our fingers, so sometimes I will do that. I also like to work with a piece of clear quartz or a piece of selenite. This is a single terminated, so it only has a point at one end. And what we're going to be doing is actually, to the best of our ability, we're going to try to remember to touch each stone and connect each stone to the center stone in the same order that they were placed. Now, if you forget, that is okay. And sometimes if you're creating a more complex grid, you might literally forget which stones you placed in what order. We just always, as we build a grid, as you noticed, we're moving from the center out. So what I'm going to do, and you can either touch the stone directly or hover over it, but we're going to touch the lepidolite to the first blue kyanite I placed, then the second, third, and you might hear a little clicking as I'm actually touching the stones. Then out to the quartz. We're going to do that 3 times. I'm going to show you what it would look like if we were doing it with our finger. Oops, see, I just got it out of order. That's not a problem. So we're going to do it one more time. I'm going to go a little faster to show you what you might find yourself doing. Kind of center. And so there you have it. I'm going to just set that activation stone aside as well. So this grid is now activated and it can stay exactly as it is. It may be that when you are creating your grid, I really encourage you to go back and check in on it 2 or 3 times a week, reactivate it if you would like. Sometimes I'll actually take a photo of a grid that I've created so that I can kind of energetically reconnect with it if it is not in the vicinity of where I am. So that is a simple world peace grid. It is holding that peaceful intention through the calming, through the transformational clearing, and the expression, that healthy flow of expressions. So there you have it. So that was a very simple walkthrough of how to create a crystal grid supporting world peace. As I said, go ahead and consider how you want to make this kind of a grid your own. Our whole world needs a lot of love. It needs a lot of uh, care. It needs a lot of kindness. And when we start with ourselves, that kind of ripples out, doesn't it? And so as we do whatever practices that are going to be helpful for us to be able to stay more balanced, more stable, more grounded. It's going to ripple out and creating a grid that reminds you that you do have the ability to heal yourself and heal the world. This is an outward and visible sign of how to do that. If you have questions about what I've talked about in this video, please let me know. Go ahead and just send me an email or you can chat right through my website. Take a look at the links below this video because I do have online school where you can learn all kinds of ways to work with crystals and gemstones and energy healing. For now, I simply wish you many blessings. Be well.